Which is not true for me because I had to go.
No, you have to go. Ajit is working from home, right?
Yeah,
Ajit
I'm
is
working.
Yeah.
Since
Karu, come sir.
March.
Karu,
Oh, Karu joined now. Hi,
Come
Karu.
sir. Come on. Muna dekka.
Karu වැඩට
Yeah. I work at home.
from home. We also work from home.
මේ අපේ කම්පැනි මේ ඇක්චුලි මේ ඇත්තටම ගොඩක් අපිට වැඩ දෙනවා අපි වැඩ කරන්නේ මම වැඩ කරන කම්පැනි එක රිවියන් කියලා ඉලෙක්ට්‍රිකල් ඒක මේගොල්ලෝ Amazon ලත් එක්ක එකතුලා කරන්නේ වේගලයක් මේ ඉලෙක්ට්‍රික් වේගලයක් මේගොල්ලෝ මැනුෆැක්චර් කරනවා ඒගොල්ලෝ ඩෙලිවරි ට්‍රක් එකක් ට්‍රක් දෙකක්
I see.
ඒගොල්ලෝ Amazon වල ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරනවා ඒකට
I see.
මේකෙන් මේ අපි සරා වුණා ඉතින් අපේ කම්පැනි කට්ටියක් හැබැයි හැරුණා අපි ටික තාම ඉන්නවා
හුඟක් තැන්වල මේ ලේ ඔෆ් කරලා මිනිස්සුන්
යා ගොඩක් තැන්වල මේ is gone you know හුඟක් වෙලාවට අපි ලකි
පව් මේ සමහර මිනිස්සු they are really
අයියෝ ඒක තමයි දැන් මේ මෙහෙ මිනිස්සු ඉතින් කෙලාවර ඉන්නවා ඉතින් මිනිස්සු ගණන් ගන්නෙත් නෑ මහර කෙයාර කරන්නෙත් නෑ කියලා මිනිස්සු ඒකයි වෙන්නේ ඉතින් මේ හේතුව ඒකයි දැන් අද තමයි ඔය දෙවිතෝතිය මම අද නිවුස් වලට දැක්කේ අර ට්‍රැක් කරන එක ලංකාවේ ට්‍රැක් කළේ ඕක මාස ගානක් ඉස්සර දැන් පටන් ගන්න හදන මේක ට්‍රැක් කරන්න
but they join already now. I see.
I did keep the conversation going. That's that's important.
No. That's fine.
You are more important.
Yeah.
Oh, you're very kind. I'm testing the Facebook page of the temple to see if it is working. I don't see it yet. Oh, okay. I have to go live on it. So, post. Oh, I just happened to see a guitar. Let's play that. It's gonna be even more interesting. So, how many people have joined? We have 10 here. Yeah, it's on. Let's begin. It's about the time. It's 3 minutes past 7:30. If we do the precepts, I think we can slowly allow more people to join before the meditation.
Bhante, I think you might have your microphone and your speaker feeding back. I'm hearing this ringing, like a ring sound. You're using the microphone on your laptop?
That's this.
Oh.
The meditation bell I rang.
That's making that sound?
Or
Oh, yes, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah, we are okay.
Good. So if you want, you can keep the video running. If you prefer to turn it off, you are free to do so. Now, before we begin, scratch where you have to, and maybe put your palms together. So we will do the chanting part. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinādana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kāmesu miccācārā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musāvādā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Suramēraya majjapamā daṭṭhānā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Itipiso bhagavā arahang sammā sambuddho vijjācharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhammasarathi sattha deva manussanang buddho bhagavati. Swakhato bhagavata dhammo sanditthiko akaliko ehi passiko opanayiko paccattāng veditabbo viññuhīti. Supatipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho. Ujjupatipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho. Ñāyapatipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho. Sāmīci patipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho. Yadidang cattari purisa yugani attha purisa puggala एस भगवतो सावक संघो आहुनेयो पाहुनेयो दक्षिणेयो अंजलि करनीयो अनुत्तरं पुण्यक्षेत्रं लोकस्याति साधु साधु साधु. We will now do our meditation. Please close your eyes and feel comfortable in your sitting positions, postures. I will sound the bell 3 times. And please close your eyes and feel this body, your hands positions, usually placing the hands in a comfortable position. Your shoulders balanced and feeling the weight of your shoulders. Feeling the weight of the upper part of your body. Start breathing in and breathing out, being fully aware of the process. Like day and night, you see the inhaling and exhaling. Pay attention to the top of your head. Relax the muscles, feel the weight. Your forehead, your face. Keep a gentle smile on your face. Free from a mask, free from any anger mask. No mark of frustration. Pay attention to the muscles behind your head. Relax them. Adjust your neck aligned with the spine. Not too strict with your body, but not too loose at the same time. You may notice the movements of your chest, not cheated by external thoughts that are visiting constantly, perhaps distracting your attention away from this guided meditation. Avoiding the tracks along the journey, being aware of the traps arising like lust, hatred, slope and torpor, doubt, restlessness. Allow yourself to ground here and now. You can't bring back the past breath or future breath. what is happening now is this breath that you are taking and exhaling. What you are thinking now is based on the past experience, the things that you have cognized, helping you understand anything that occurs in the present awareness now. Let things be. Instead of seeing the cracks in the mug, you see the gold in it. It is being mindful and appreciating this opportunity to be mindful as a group. Mindfully you breathe in, mindfully you breathe out. Also relax your stomach, your pelvis, the muscles pressed against the floor, the chair. Relax your knees, the shin bones, the soles of your feet, and the toes. Inviting positive energy back into the core of your body, in the heart space, making space for that. Just being aware, mindfully you breathe in, mindfully you breathe out. You know when it is a short breath, you know when it is a long breath. In and out. in and out. Breathe in and breathe out, experiencing the whole body. Breathe in, breathe out, tranquilizing this body. As you feel tranquility, make it bigger. Let stillness spring in this body. Allow some joy to arise from this meditation. This is Vivekajam Priti Sukham, born from Viveka, born from seclusion, joy and happiness. Joy and happiness born from seclusion. Very subtle, but it is there. You gained seclusion from seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, physical sensations, and thinking. You gained seclusion from unwholesome states, such as desire for sensual pleasures, anger, sleepiness, restlessness, and doubt. Free from unwholesome states. Mindfully you breathe in, mindfully you breathe out. Generating joy born of seclusion, happiness born from this seclusion. Settling into a stilled state, stillness. So this joy and happiness are now born from stillness, samadhi. You may come back on camera, please. Ending your meditation.
What are you doing?
So do you have questions? Today's meditation was to experience the meditation as much as possible and then open it up for questions. I can unmute you all.
I have a question, Bhante.
Sure.
Well, I have a hard time sitting for that long, and it's not the physical sitting, it's the mental sitting. So, I actually had to take a little break, and I don't know what you would suggest.
It comes to me, I wanted to sit longer than this today. For me to stop the meditation was a hard thing. And I think that comes from sitting with groups like this regularly. And my mind is used to it.
Right.
And I'm not sure if you have done the same thing over the years of your life. I think if you do, it will be, you will be unstoppable. And I think you also need little motivation. So the kind of motivation I would give is think of this as a way to one day experience an out-of-body experience, to cheat the death. In doing that, the reward is so much pleasure and happiness, more than you have experienced in any of your ordinary experiences as a human being. So where is that, and why do we fear that experience? So sometimes we do fear that experience because people wait until they die to be free from the body. But Buddhism wants you to challenge that experience. So you don't have any fear or any remorse when you come, whenever you experience that in your life.
I have had those out-of-body experiences meditating.
Would you mind sharing?
Sure. You mean specifically what types of meditation was I doing?
Specifically, like how long you did the meditation, and what was the circumstances? Were you planning it, or did it occur randomly?
It just occurred randomly. I mean, I've experienced it a lot when I meditate, and usually I do breath-focused meditation. But I also do insight meditation, choiceless awareness, body scan. It's happened quite a bit during body scan,
Mm-hmm.
where sometimes I meditate if I'm in the car and I'm parked, I'm waiting for my wife in the store.
Yeah.
I'll meditate in the car, and it's the same type of experience where the outer world it falls away, and I'm not really aware of where my body ends and where the outside reality begins.
Mm-hmm.
And also, the other thing that happens is that I forget where I am, like
Mhm.
geographically. So in other words, I can be, sometimes I'll meditate lying in my bed. But the same thing happens in other locations sometimes, that is, where I actually forget where I am, geographically. It just feels like I'm kind of out in infinity somewhere. I don't know how to describe it.
Do you think you need to combine that with Buddhist meditation to be a little bit more mindful and control of the surroundings, so that at some point the Buddha used the word abhininnamiti, to bend the mind the way you want, like those pot makers making the pot that they desire to see. And I think we need to have that ability in crafting the mind, and directing it in the right direction. Without having that agility, I think it's like we set it loose, like we set a cow loose in the field, and it just roams and roams, and it does what it wants to do,
Mm-hmm.
which is good. But with a little bit of mindfulness and awareness and knowing what to expect ahead, for example, you can direct your mind to see past life experiences. This is quite encouraged,
Mm-hmm.
to see what your future, what your present is like, and why things are happening in certain way. I think you might find answers to some things, psychological and physical. So
Okay, thank you.
anyway, that's not where I wanted to go. Thank you for sharing that experience, Mark. Sometimes it's good to hear that others do have these experiences. It's a way to cut off fear in other people's minds when it comes to having those experiences. To discuss these more, so that it becomes a common theme that we discuss. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, there's another meditation technique. What does it start with? It's a form of yoga. It's a form of yoga. I forget. It starts with an M, but it's another meditation technique that I've used, and it's a form of well, it's different than a body scan. Anyway, I can't remember what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
But it's gotten me into very, very deep states of relaxation.
I love that. Recently, it's not yoga, but I just went on YouTube, in the middle of night. It was actually 3 a.m, and I did play a guided meditation in which they suggested me to feel the weight of this body, as if you are, they didn't use the word death, but I think that's why they say the dead bodies are, weighing more than the regular bodies,
Right.
and I think that was amazing. So to feel it, and kind of this, the body disappears, and all you have is awareness, and then you direct it where you want. So
I see.
I don't think we should ever fear those experiences.
No.
And the Buddha, the Bodhisattva, aspiring to be the Buddha, he revealed in his discourse on Noble Quest, which is in Pali called the Arya Pariyasana Sutta, that he had fear when having these experiences. And then he was like, why do I fear for something that is not gained through sensual pleasure? If it had something to do with attachment, he has to own it, possess it, and control it. But for this, he realized, why do I fear for that? So I think that our knowledge in sutras, the teachings, would also help.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any more questions?
Yeah, one here.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, please.
Bhante, so this is Gaetani.
Yeah.
So I treat children with psychiatric issues, being a child psychiatrist.
Nice.
So I I mean, I was told, I mean, I haven't treated like, patients who, but they will tell me like they experiences, they experience out of body experience. So the body, the mind moves away and the body they could see just there. So that kind of experience. So we call it dissociations
Mm-hmm.
in psychiatry. So is it something similar to what Buddha, I mean, I don't want even to say because most of these patients have been abused.
Mm-hmm.
So is there any kind of relationship or how can I mean, separate the two?
And first of all, these are children, and they are revealing you these experiences with something really painful that happened in their life, and I'm
Yes.
glad they have the opportunity to see you and talk and process these experiences. And let me bring up my own recent out-of-body, I wouldn't say it's completely out-of-body experience, but this is where I had a little realization as to why the Buddha said the mind is the forerunner, and why thoughts are action. He didn't say what you do physically is action. Action is born in the mind. This made me think about the bodiless beings, those who have just the mind, like divine beings. There are many, and that without having a gross body like ours, they function. And to me, it was like seeing what is there in my room, and my eyes were closed. You see, in that, and when I shared this experience with a spiritual friend, he said, you may as well see things that happened in the room a couple of days before as if there was a memory in that space. Okay. And I would agree with that to some extent. We are just experimenting on this, but this is something I've never openly talked about these things until I started kind of being curious about these things personally, and I want you all to be curious and be mindful. I think that you said the word dissociation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. For them, I'm not sure if they have any control over these experiences. It could also be a lucid dream. I've also had those, a couple of times. You feel like a sage, flying on, above rivers in somewhere in an unknown territory, but it's a beautiful experience. Also flying above trees, and it feels like you are living in that experience. But those are good ones.
Right.
But these kids may have traumatic experience.
Correct.
And yes, Mark, you're
Yeah. I have a comment and a question on that. I agree with you. I'm a retired social worker, and I think the difference probably is, like you said, that dissociative experiences are born from trauma.
Correct.
Meditative experience, we're moving toward joy.
Yes.
And happiness. So that's a dissociative response is a protective response, right? So it's splitting.
Probably from the painful memories. Yeah.
Right. It's splitting off the body from the mind or the emotions or whatever. But
the inflation of the car airbags. It's like the airbag experience and after an accident, the airbag comes out. I think.
Right.
That's what came to my mind when you were talking about.
That's a good metaphor. But in terms of the comment that I want to make in terms of an out-of-body experience, I do not differentiate between the body and the mind. And I think in meditation, in my experience in meditation, a lot of the experience has to do with reconnecting the mind and the body, because they're not different. They're one.
Wonderful.
Right, they're one. So what happens when I do a body scan or if I do meditation is that I get in touch with the emotions of my body, because emotions and thoughts are are part of the body.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps. So in meditating, it helps me to unify my body and my mind, my body and my spirit, because they're one and the same anyway. So then when I unify them, then I can have, you know, more of a transcendent experience, or out of body, or joy, whatever you want to call it. So that's my thought on
I
that.
think the Buddha would focus more on the transcendent experience. You know, remember that we are talking about the Buddha, someone who has already done the work. So he's speaking from his direct experience, and therefore he is way ahead of everyone else here.
Yeah.
And I'm not so sure if everyone will agree that the body and the mind are the same, or, you know, these are questionable points
Right.
in Buddhism context. But the reason I agreed with you there is that a lot of people, before even meditating, they need to they need to process things that have happened in their life.
Right.
If not, they get trapped in these experiences. Without processing these, they only live that experience again and again.
Right.
And when you have unified that and somewhat, coming into terms that this is it, no matter how many times I get stuck in this experience, this is not going to help me. Let me find another way to, the Buddha encouraged us not to dwell in the past, not to dwell planning the future. Instead, like we did in today's meditation, to welcome the present as a gift and see if you can detach from the baggage of the past and the future to stay in the present, and to have an opening to that transcendent experience fearlessly. I think when kids come to you, you can only discuss so many things with them in terms of meditation. You have limitations because they don't understand most of it. But I'm curious, what do you say, like, to them? Do you just let things be, or do you discourage them?
Most of the time, I let the therapist take care of these issues.
Okay.
So we have PhDs, and so they usually take care of the therapy portion of their issues, and I manage the medications.
Okay.
So the other issue is, like, we utilize the therapy called for the borderline personality patients. It's called DBT, dialectical behavior therapy,
Yep.
which is mainly based on Buddhism.
Right.
Yeah. So
They don't use the word Buddhism though. They
No.
secular.
I mean, Buddha's teachings, like,
Yeah.
mindfulness and all those, those are the components in this dialectical behavior therapy.
Mhm.
So
Yes, thank you. That's right. And well, Mark, mindfulness has been taken out of Buddhism. So, CBT and BBT, all these also have been taken out of Buddhism.
yes.
I mean, you don't even need to say these are Buddhist things, as long as, they have a larger purpose anyway, not to defend a name of a religion, but to be helpful to people as tools that are available as helpful tools when anybody needs them. So they are quite universal. And yes, the therapist, I think, sometimes asking a simple question like, what is the worst that has happened to you? And has it ever happened? Again, these questions definitely help people think through. Sometimes the fears they have is all born in their mind. They think there is a devil under the bed, but it's all imagination. Sometimes the question like, has it ever happened to you, would enlighten them that it's only an illusion to be attached to these things.
Yeah.
So they can leave the trauma and have a good sleep and slowly become normal again. So thank you for bringing that up. It's very nice to,
Thank you.
I have always been curious about your work experiences, but I'm glad you brought it up. We like to hear more about it, but
Okay. Maybe in the future sessions.
yes, whenever it occurs to you, please raise your hand and bring these up.
Yes, one.
And I'm so glad Mark also added to it.
Yes,
He
I
did
didn't
so much
know
background,
he's involved with the social work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a social worker for 30 years, and most of that time was with children and adolescents.
Oh, excellent.
So
Glad to know.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a working with children is, I've never done that in a we do teach children. I work with children in teaching meditation and teaching in the Sunday school and all that. But I think a social worker's responsibility is the set of questions you ask. It's a responsibility.
It's a huge
It's a
responsibility.
huge responsibility. So, anybody wants to say anything before we conclude? I guess no. So, all right, we will end it here and see you again when we see again. And I will send out another announcement before we do the session. Feel free to share these links with your friends, and they are welcome to join.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy meditation.
Good lesson.
Saranai.
Good Saranai.
තෙරුවන් සරණයි ස්වාමින් වහන්සේ.
Good Saranai.
Thank you, Bhante.
Sure. May all beings be well and happy.